Hey everyone, it's Mark, Skipper Mark. So today Matt is going to replace this part on his Jeep Rubicon. You may not even know it because this is our first video about it, but about a week and a half ago he bought a Jeep Rubicon. It's used, it's a 2005, and he's going to be getting rid of his 98 Jeep Cherokee and possibly maybe his 84 K10 pickup truck. K10? Mm-hmm. So, couple things. First, recording with a new iPhone 12. So hopefully the video looks okay. Hopefully there's not a lot of wind noise because I'm using the built-in camera. I just want to see how things go with the stock app and everything. And yeah, I think that's it. So here's Matt to talk about this little part, which I know nothing about.
In 2005, they changed the design of the oil pump drive shaft assembly. This just drives the oil pump because in 05 they don't have a distributor. And they changed the design, and there's a bushing that doesn't get oil, so it doesn't get lubricated, so it causes drag and it eats up the gear on the camshaft, or can.
So is this a whole new unit, or?
So this is a whole new unit to replace the, this one could have been done, but I don't know, so I'm just doing it just in case.
Okay.
As like preventative, you know.
Right, the guy that he bought the Jeep from didn't know if it was done, so he decided to just do it. Yeah. It's relatively cheap insurance to make sure that you don't burn out the camshaft?
Cam gear.
Cam gear.
The gear that this goes to on the cam.
Okay.
Because there'll be resistance, and it'll cause resistance and drag, and it'll eat up the gear on the camshaft.
Okay. And so what does this do? Does this go where the distributor normally would go?
So like on the Cherokee, it has a distributor, and this would be the distributor, but that has a coil on plug ignition system, so this goes in place of the distributor to just drive the oil pump. So you have to turn the engine over to top dead center, and you can know it's at top dead center by lining up this hole in this top ring to the hole in the bottom, and then they give you a pin that comes in the new one. But what I'm going to do is turn the engine over and put the pin in the old one, so I know the engine's at top dead center. I'll take the old one out, then put the pin on the new one and put the new one in exactly how I took the old one out. And this, I'm going to reuse the stock sensor because they say the aftermarket ones are no good, and there's nothing wrong with the sensor on mine, so I'm just going to reuse the OEM one.
So Matt's going to take the jack off his truck so that he can flip the hood back up against the window.
I do that with my left hand.
By flipping the hood back, it gives Matt a ton more room. The hood does have a bar inside to hold it up like a normal car, but the problem is it just is kind of a steep angle, and this gives a ton more room. So Matt is now turning over the engine so that it will go to top dead center. So as he turns the engine over, it's changing the position of that, again, I don't know what it's called, but that part that he's replacing. Matt's now putting the pin in through the bottom to make sure that it lines up and he knows that the engine is at top dead center. So now Matt's gonna take off the module or the sensor so that it's easier to get out.
All right.
So it turns out that this had already been replaced because there's marks inside it where you can see that someone used a whiteout pen to, mark for their timing. But Matt's got the part, so he's just gonna go ahead and put the new one in.
Looks like an original one though.
So Matt's gonna shine a light down into the opening to see if he can look at the gear and see if it has any unusual wear. You can't tell by looking at this gear here if there's a problem with the camshaft, because this gear is hardened and it doesn't wear out, but the camshaft gear will.
I don't know if I'll say I'm declaring. I don't say that. What am I say? I looked in there and I'm gonna call it and say that it's good. It looks fine.
So this goopy stuff is assembly lubricant, and it just helps lubricate the gears. So because this this assembly lubricant is really thick and goopy, it stays on the gears better than just oil. Cleaning dirt off the brackets and the bolts, so nothing gets in the engine.
And so it looks better.
Okay, so now comes the hardest part of the whole job, putting on the bracket to hold the pump thing in place. Internet says, or people on the internet say, you can leave the little plastic stick in there and it'll just shear off, but you don't want that flapping around in there, so we're gonna take it out. Okay, so the oil pump drive shaft assembly is in, and it's got gear lubricant on. Matt's gonna put the cap on now, and then that's about it. It'll be done. So we couldn't find anything on the internet about breaking in the distributor gear assembly for the oil pump drive shaft thing that Matt put in. Again, I apologize, I can't ever remember the name of that, but he's not gonna take any chances, so he has synthetic oil in the engine, which is not good for breaking in gears. So he's going to drain that out, and he's going to use Valvoline 10W30 VR1 racing oil. It's not synthetic, and it's got high zinc in it, so it's really good for breaking in parts. So Matt just got his oil filter off, and he's gonna drain the oil and do a quick oil change. It's gonna drive around for 500 to 1,000 miles with the Valvoline oil in it. He'll drain it and then put the synthetic back in the engine that he normally uses. And so that's it. I think we're done, right?
Yep.
So if you have any questions about this, it's a pretty simple job. It's basically just like taking out a distributor and putting a distributor in. But if you have any questions or anything, drop us a comment. We'd be glad to try to help out and answer any questions that you may have. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
They say if it's not in exactly right, it'll throw a code and you might go into limp mode, so it like won't go above 3,000 RPM.